tax freight train is bearing down on your retirement. To protect yourself, you'll have to harness the power of zero.
Hi there, this is David McKnight. Welcome to the Power of Zero show. Grateful that you could carve out some time to be with us to explore ideas on how to get to the 0% tax bracket in retirement. I am the best-selling author of The Power of Zero, Look Before You Lerp, The Volatility Shield, and a new book that's going to be published in November through Penguin Random House through the Portfolio imprint. And it is entitled Tax-Free Income for Life. Very excited. We're just having getting advanced manuscripts out to beta readers, and they are going through that one final time before I send it off to my editor. So exciting times in the Power of Zero world. In this book, we will show you how to eliminate tax rate risk and longevity risk, all within the very same financial plan. If you are looking for a Power of Zero advisor to help you navigate all of the pitfalls that stand between you and the 0% tax bracket, you can head on over to davidmcknight.com and fill in the intake form. If you are an advisor looking to adopt Power of Zero principles in your own practice, you can head over to powerofzero.com and opt into the free video series. If you are looking to follow me on Twitter, please do so at McKnight & Co, at McKnight & Co. All right, let's get right to today's subject matter. And that's why during this coronavirus downturn in the market, it is actually the perfect time to start thinking about doing Roth conversions. Now, this is the biggest market sell-off that we've seen since 1987. And a lot of you are down in the dumps. I've had communications with a lot of you. Many of you are down 35%, but I'm here to tell you that there is a silver lining. And that silver lining is that maybe the very best time in our lifetimes to do a Roth conversion. And the reason is because there is a double sale going on. Remember, the first sale that we talked about is a sale that I talk about in Chapter 6 of The Power of Zero, which is we've got 6 years during which to enjoy historically low tax rates. That's what we call the tax sale of a lifetime. We know exactly when tax rates are going to go up. We know exactly how many years within which we can take advantage of those historically low tax rates. The Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017 lower taxes. We know that they are automatically going to be returned to where they were in 2017 on January 1st, 2026. So that's the first sale that we're talking about. The second sale is that because of that 35% drop in the stock market since market highs in February, your assets are now at much lower values, meaning that the cost of the tax on a potential Roth conversion is 35% lower than what it used to be. Now, let me give you an example here. And it's even more than that when you consider the various tax brackets. Let me give you an example here. Let's say you got $1 million in your IRA. By the way, I'm not in any way suggesting that you should be converting $1 million IRA all in 1 year, but I'm just trying to give you an example of the type of tax savings that we're seeing because of this drop in the market. So let's say you got $1 million in your IRA and you decide to convert the whole thing all in 1 year. Let's also assume, just for example's sake, you don't have any other income, so we're going to keep everything pretty clear here. Your tax bill, if you converted that entire IRA all in 1 year, not including state tax, would be $299,112. Okay, so that's about a 29.9% effective tax rate. Now, let's assume that your market, along with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, your portfolio along with the Dow Jones Industrial Average went down 35%, which is about what it's been down since its highs in February. So you now only have $650,000 in your IRA. If you were to convert all of that money to a Roth IRA all in 1 year, not including state tax, that would be $169,612 tax bill. That's not quite half. It's a little more than half of what you would pay if you converted the whole thing before the market went down. Now, let's assume that the market goes through this massive recovery over the course of the second half of the year and into 2021. And we get back up to exactly where the stock market was in February, which is in the $29,000 point range. Well, guess what? All of that recovery is going to take place in your tax-free bucket. Just to give you some simple math here, if the market's down, say 25%, your portfolio has to recover 33% to get back to square one. If your portfolio is down 50%, you've got to get 100% return on your money to get back to square one. Do you want that 33% recovery or that 100% recovery, as it were, to take place in your tax-deferred bucket, or do you want it to take place in your tax-free bucket? Well, guess what? You have the opportunity to take advantage of a double tax sale right now. Number one, tax rates are as low as they are likely to be in our lifetime. Number two, your assets are 35% lower than they were about a month ago, meaning that the cost of getting into the tax-free bucket is on sale as well. So there's a double tax savings that goes on here. Now, there's a couple of caveats that I want to make you aware of. If you decide to undertake a Roth conversion right now, we're pretty early in the year, and you don't have the tax withheld by your custodian, you are going to have to pay some tax. And you don't want to delay paying that tax, because if you delay paying that tax, you could experience interest and penalties. Okay? If you say, I'm going to do the conversion today and I'm going to pay the tax at the end of the year, guess what? It's going to be too late. They will charge you taxes. They'll charge you interest and penalties by that point. So just be clear that if you do not have the money withheld from the conversion itself, by the way, you can only have the money withheld from the conversion itself if you're over age 59 and a half. If you're younger than age 59 and a half, you have to pay the tax out of some other bucket, probably your taxable bucket. So if you've got a lot of liquid money in your taxable bucket, you would use that to pay the tax. If you're over age 60, you don't have to worry about it. You can just have the money withheld right from the tax, right from the conversion itself. Keep in mind, the very best place, regardless of whether you're older than 59 and a half or younger than 59 and a half, the very best place to pay for your Roth conversion taxes is out of your taxable bucket. If you have a surplus amount of money in your taxable bucket, more than 6 months worth of basic living expenses, you have some inherent tax inefficiencies in your overall portfolio. And if you amortize those inefficiencies out over your lifetime, it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's use the money in your taxable bucket to serve as a catalyst to getting all that money that's in your tax-deferred bucket over to tax-free. So let's use our taxable investments to pay the tax. The taxable bucket is our least valuable bucket. To get our second least valuable bucket, which is our tax-deferred bucket, into our most valuable bucket, or our most tax-efficient bucket, which is the tax-free bucket. So let's use, whenever possible, and especially if you're younger than 59 and a half, let's use the taxable bucket to pay the taxes on those conversions. And you will have to pay those taxes roughly at the same time that you undertake the Roth conversion, unless you want taxes and penalties. Okay. Couple of positive things here. When you do, let me talk about some differences between contributions to a Roth IRA and a Roth conversion. When you contribute to a Roth IRA, you have to use cash. You have to contribute cash to your Roth IRA. So if you have money in your taxable bucket in the form of Apple stock, you would have to sell that Apple stock. A couple days later, maybe 3 days later, when you get the cash, you can then contribute that money to your Roth IRA. And then within that Roth IRA, you can go take that cash and buy a share of Apple stock. That can be problematic because lots of bad stuff can happen in 3 days, especially given the current coronavirus environment. As we have seen, there can be lots of movement in the market if it takes, if it takes 3 days to get your money on your cash to be able to repurchase that stock. Now, if the market's going down, that's great news for you. But if the market happens to recover during those 3 days, that's not great news. And guess what? I can tell you this. It is impossible to predict when the market is going to go down and when the market is going to go up. It is a fool's errand to try to time that. So, long and the short of it is you just don't want to be in a position where you're letting your money sit in cash for 3 days because you just don't know what's going to happen in the situation. You're better off being in a position where you can do what the Roth Conversion allows you to do. What does the Roth Conversion allow you to do? The Roth Conversion allows you to transfer money from your IRA to the Roth account and do what's called a LikeKind transfer. What is a LikeKind transfer? Basically says if you have $1 million of Apple stock in your IRA, you can convert that $1 million of Apple stock to a Roth IRA by doing an in-kind transfer. In other words, take those same shares that you own and transfer them into your Roth IRA. So basically, it's like you're retitling your account to a Roth IRA. That's a big deal because if you want to insulate yourself from the repercussions of being out of the market during the 3 days that it might take to liquidate the stock and then repurchase that same stock within the Roth account, you're sort of insulated from doing that. So, long and the short of it is this. I think we are in a great opportunity for those of you who want to get to the 0% tax bracket, for those of you who want to pay the least amount of tax along the way. I think that not only are tax rates historically low, but your assets have just gone through a downgrade, a reduction of historic proportions. I am an optimist. I am totally anticipating that the market is going to come back, and I think it's going to come back with a vengeance. I don't know exactly when. I'm very optimistic for the second half of this year. I think there's been a lot of panic and fear-driven cashing out of the markets, and once people realize, once things start to settle down again, I think people are going to realize that there's a lot of good deals out there. There's a lot of undervalued stocks, and the stock market is going to start to recover. Remember, before the coronavirus happened, we were at all-time market highs. We were at historically low unemployment. So we had relatively strong financial fundamentals. I think that the broader picture of the U.S. and the world economy is not awesome, given all of the things we've talked about in prior podcasts, given the debt, given the unfunded obligations for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. But the immediate look of the economics of our country is pretty good. Namely, that we were at all-time market highs. We were at historically low unemployment. I think we're going to be able to recapture a lot of that, a lot of those good fundamentals once things settle down a little bit. So you want your Roth conversion. You want your money. You want your retirement assets to be able to recover in the tax-free bucket. When we start to get those losses, we start to recuperate all those losses. You want those losses to be recuperated in the tax-free bucket. So how do we turn lemons into lemonade in this scenario? Yes, we lost 35%, but let's make hay while the sun shines. Let's pay taxes on our IRAs while they're historically low. I am not by any means suggesting that you do it all in 1 year, but I think that there is a magic number. If you are looking to systematically shift money to tax-free, I think that there's a big opportunity for you to do so during this market downturn. One other thing I want to bring to your attention that's a little bit changing gears on you. For those of you who are on a coronavirus lockdown, okay, like I am here in Puerto Rico, we've been locked down for a week, and they've promised that we'll be locked down for at least another week. So something for your diversions. If you're at home and you've got kids that are driving you nuts, I would suggest that you go check out my daughter's YouTube channel. It's called 9 is Enough. It's a little play on the old show, 8 is Enough. We've got 7 kids in our family, 2 adults, 2 parents. 9 is definitely enough, but that's the name of the YouTube. If you want to go to YouTube, check out 9 is Enough. You can subscribe to it. And my daughter is going to be giving you daily ideas on how to beat the monotony of the coronavirus lockdown. You can see her first video up there. She's got great ideas showing that what we've done in our household to beat the monotony of the coronavirus lockdown. If you would like to do a review on our podcast, we would love that. If you would like to do a review of any of my books on Amazon, I would be thrilled and honored if you did so. Again, if you want to subscribe to my Twitter Twitter feed, you can go to @McKnight & Co., @McKnight & Co., and follow me. And finally, if you are looking for someone to help you navigate all the pitfalls that stand between you and the 0% tax bracket, head over to davidmcknight.com. And if you are an advisor looking to incorporate all of these principles into your practice, you can head over to powerzero.com and opt into the free online video series. And once again, subscribe. You'll get a notification wherever you listen to podcasts every time we have a new podcast, which is about every Wednesday. So thanks for being on the podcast this week, and we look forward to chatting with you same time next week.